What's going on, people? Anthony Joshua versus Josie Parker. 31st of March, Cardiff. IBF, WBA Super and IBO heavyweight titles on the line. Whose undefeated streak will come to an end? This is the first edition of The Wave. It's your boy, Clive Belvin. Boys, introduce yourself.
Stephen up in here.
We got Ray in the building.
What up, lads? So yeah, tail of the tape. Joshua, 20 wins, 20 knockouts. Coming in at 6 foot 6 inches. Notable victories against the likes of Dillian White, Vladimir Klitschko, and most recently, Carlos Takam. On the other side now, you got Josie Parker from New Zealand. 24 wins, 18 knockouts. Coming in again at 6 foot 6 inches. Picked up wins against the likes of Hughie Fury, most recently to retain the WBO heavyweight title, in which he won back in 2016, having defeated Andy Ruiz in his hometown back in Auckland. Parker also picked up a win against Carlos Takam back in the summer of 2016. So yeah, come 31st. What's the break? What's your breakdown of the fight itself? Talk to me.
I think this is just a lead up to what the fans would like to see in regards to the old-fashioned heavyweight that's reclaiming all the titles, and this is just going to lead to a head-on collision for Deontay Wilder. So I think this is a fight that obviously a lot of the promotional gods will be hoping that Andy Joshua wins, but at the same time, maybe an upset by Parker might just be on the cards for a big money fight for Joshua in the future as well.
What do you think Parker can bring to the table? Actually, before I get into that, yeah, Steve, give us your breakdown of the fight itself.
It's an underrated fight. Parker's more dangerous than what people are giving him credit for. He's quick, he's got a good engine, he can fight for 12 rounds, great chin, and Joshua fades down the stretch, and he's a bit stiff.
Fair enough. But me personally, I think Josh is going to have to be more flexible. He's going to have to move his head more. I hope that his conditioning is well put for this fight. As in, we've seen some stamina issues in the past when coming on to the later rounds. Like Wembley Stadium against Vladimir Klitschko. We saw that he was vulnerable to a fighter with good movement. So, the issue is, I don't want him coming into this fight too heavy. So yeah, I'll be very interested to see how much he'll weigh come fight night. Both fighters fought Carlos Takam. Is there anything in which you can compare with both fights?
100%. Takam came into that Joshua fight on a week's notice and gave Joshua hell. Him and Parker had a good fight, but there was a 10-week camp there. Okay, yeah. And they were at different stages. Parker was young, was 23 when he fought Takam. Yeah, and he was still developing fighter. Joshua was a world champion at that point and still complete fighter. So,
do you think do you think Parker will be able to take Joshua's power?
That's the big question for me. That's the big question. Can he get out of those first 3 rounds? If he gets out of the first 3 rounds, it becomes a 50-50 fight. But Joshua's got that punch to equalise him in the first 3 rounds. So it's difficult to tell.
As in, with the Hughie Fury fight, I don't really like.
Hughie Fury just didn't show up. Just didn't want to fight. He just ran.
Not according to McKenzie.
Shades
of Muhammad Ali, right?
There were shades of Ali. I didn't see this. I saw shades of Paulie Malignaggi, maybe.
Fair enough.
No.
Paulie, that's not. With all due respect, Paulie, you know we got love for you, Paulie. In the UK. You know we got love for you in the UK, Paulie.
But Parker, would you say that you've seen him tested?
For sure, he came out tough. He went to Germany to fight Dimitrenko. Andy Ruiz, brilliant fighter. Very, very underrated fighter. And he came from behind to win that fight, which shows that if he's behind after 6 rounds, he doesn't lose heart, he doesn't lose faith, he sticks with the game plan, and he'll take over the fight later on and win a fight down the stretch, which is an absolute nightmare for Joshua.
Wouldn't you think that Joshua's got too much size for Parker, though, compared to the fighters of which Parker has took on in the past?
I think maybe in the first few rounds that helps you out, but once you start getting into the later rounds, like you said, there's a consequence for having all of that muscle. Okay. With great power comes great responsibility, and with great muscle comes limited timing. So, like I said, it's like you're running you're doing a 400-meter sprint. Yeah. With all that muscle. Yeah. But the fight is potentially a 1500. So, you know, you can have enough stamina for one lap, but then if that fight goes more than one lap, then, you know, Joshua's gonna have to dig deep like in the Klitschko fight, which was good. He showed that he can dig deep, but I'm sure that he would rather not want to go through that in every fight and be more efficient in how he approaches things. I'm sure with his team, they've been looking into that. We'll see how much he's weighing on weigh-in day. Yeah. And then from there, we can only judge from his performance. And then also, people will be making comparisons to see how he'll size up with Deontay Wilder. Yeah. If he wins. That's a big if.
In terms of the Klitschko fight, do you not think that said more about Klitschko than Joshua on that night? Why didn't Klitschko put him to sleep? Why didn't he move into the kill when he did? If anything, Joshua took how many rounds off, did nothing, circled the ring. He was there for the taking. It was and Klitschko didn't do anything.
I had Klitschko winning on that.
Klitschko trainer said, "Stay behind the jab, box him, stay out of the way of the right hand." They were terrified of Joshua's right hand. Yeah. And it showed in the fight. The game plan was terrible, and he was gun shy after losing to Fury, and he came in to try and nick the fight, and psychologically he weren't there, and he gave the fight away.
No, I hear that 100%. As in, so with this fight coming up, if it's Joshua, like, how do you think he's gonna come about with his fight? Is he gonna go all out?
I think the difference is that in the Klitschko fight, going back to Steve's point, was that Anthony. I think Klitschko did go put his foot off the gas, but I believe on his side he was excused because he's an older fighter. He's got the mileage on his body. Yeah. And I believe, to answer what Steve said, in regards to why was it a surprise with Joshua, or why wasn't enough responsibility put on Joshua, he just hadn't been put in that scenario before. And I think that showed big time in that, you know, Dylan White also took him to later round, gave him trouble, but he had never been in that much trouble. But it's good to show that in the face of adversity, a lot of people cower. He did pull through, even though you could argue that Klitschko gave him a way out, or let's say not say a way out, but Klitschko gave him just that chance that he needed to get the comeback.
Yeah, I rate Joshua. I rate Joshua what he did that night. It was incredible. He showed a lot of heart, but ultimately, Klitschko should have stopped him. Klitschko should have put it on him. You know, in that 6th, 7th, and 8th. When he put it down, 7th round, Josh was done. Joshua's gone, and
he was there for the taking.
He was there for the taking, and they fought. They took Klitschko took a coward's way out. He sort of thought, right, he's there. Let's just box on the back foot. We'll take the fight. Let's take no risks here, and he paid the price for that. And shame on him. Yeah. But ultimately, Parker's hungry. Parker needs this. All right, he's not rich. He needs to win this fight. So when he sees Joshua's hurt, if he gets into that position, is he going to let him off the hook like Klitschko did? Is he going to box around and move around? Oh, let's just see No, he's going to go after him. And what happens if you can't even hold your hands up? You're so tired you can't hold your hands up, and Parker weighs in on you. You're getting stopped.
Especially given the fact that with Parker, it's going to be different from Klitschko in regards to. You could say he hasn't got that fear factor that Klitschko has, because he himself hasn't been stopped. So he's going to go in just as fearless as a new fighter would, in that you're not being dropped. Because you could argue with Klitschko, it's because he had been dropped before that he fought so cautious. And listen, all credit due, because you still have to be a very smart fighter to be able to have the record that Klitschko has and be known to have not the greatest chin in the game. But I think with Parker, he doesn't have that fear of, is my chin tested, or I've been dropped to the floor so I can't trust my chin. He might just go in for that flurry and put his chances against Joshua, because like Steve said, financial wise, what's he got to lose? It's going to be his biggest payday, win or lose, I'm sure. So he's probably going to go in there, guns are blazing, go for it. He's not expected to win anyway. And it's just underdog mentality. He's just going to go for the gusto.
On that point though, on the flip side of that, I've been seeing from Parker, he's come to the UK, and he just seems far too relaxed for me. He's got a big fight coming up, and he's just kind of like, so this will be nice and easy, or whatever. Yeah. So is he just thinking, I'm getting well paid, this is what I got into boxing for, get that one big payday, and just like that's it.
Shades of Rigo and Lemonchenko.
Like you see this a lot, and I don't like to see a fighter like you see that intensity, like sort of like you're nervous, you're angry, sort of those kind of emotions coming out. Parker's just like, I can't wait till the Sunday after.
Maybe that's just him.
I can spend maybe, but you know, is that so? You can't wear. You don't really know too much about Parker.
Yeah, exactly. Some fighters don't want to show too much emotion. Like in the build up to the Hugh Fury fight, he was chilled as.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
I think that's just him in terms of he don't want to give anything away, and that's just his approach going to a fight. Do you think the home advantage will play some sort of factor?
Maybe in the judging wise, but that's just, that's boxing for you. Home field advantage as well as promotional advantage. I know it's a bit of a hot take, it's controversial, but like I said, the promotional gods are looking at this right now as once again, I'm not mentioning any names. That was another person on the pod. This is Ray speaking. But yeah, the promotional gods are looking at
On
this.
the real though, can you ever see Joshua be on the wrong side of a decision? If he sees that final bell, he could have been knocked down like 6 times. It's not. There's no way.
I can't see this fight going the distance. I think it's going to be a TKO victory. I'm going to go with Joshua on this one.
I'll say guaranteed KO only for the fact that Joshua's got this record of KO, so he's going to be pushing to get that KO record going into Deontay Wilder fight.
Yeah.
He wants to look strong. It's going to imagine the promotional package of Deontay Wilder just defeated Ortiz in a barn burner. You've got Joshua coming off of just every single fight he's been in having a KO. It's just, listen, it's going to bring back the heydays of the heavyweights, and people are going to anticipate this fight. UK first US as well. We haven't had that much of a big UK first US since Hatton, Mayweather.
Yeah.
And
I agree. I think
10 years on.
it probably will be a Joshua stoppage, but I think there's enough in this fight to make it interesting, and there's enough outs there for Parker to win this fight.
Yeah, believe me, I don't believe that it'll be a walkover.
Yeah, I think it's like I think this fight is not a cut and shut, but if Joshua wins, he's going to win by stoppage. So therefore, the most likely outcome is that it's going to be a Joshua stoppage. But there's enough outs there for Parker to win this fight, and then this is. I think the general public just think, Joshua's this infallible guy because he's knocked everyone out. And he's sort of done everything. But there are chinks there. He's not a complete fighter by any means. And so,
how long have we followed Joshua? It's been quite some time since his journey from the Olympics.
Yeah.
Have we seen weaknesses there? Against Dillian White.
He took a slappy left hook off Dillian White.
What's that, sorry?
He took a slappy left hook off Dillian White and he was rocked.
Well, that was the second round, right?
Yeah.
No, was it first or second?
First or second.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't much of a shot. He sort of took a little stumble, and then the stamina issues in that fight were there. And
the stamina issues been something that's been talked about for some time now. He's been coming into his fights carrying all that muscle mass.
He's become strong and powerful, and he puts everything into the first few rounds, and then sort of it reminds me of Conor McGregor in a way. That kind of come in, unload, ferocious. If you can get through them first few rounds, you'll take him deep. But it's just getting through those first few rounds is a nightmare. So
also, some people, it's just a gift and a curse. You could be gifted with being athletically dynamic as Anthony Joshua, but the curse of that is a lot of the time those athletes don't have the grace of cardio.
Yeah.
So it's hard. Like I said, it's gift and a curse because there's many fighters. We could go down the line of how many fighters that have been out there. That
David Haye had a similar thing. David Haye, stamina issues, ferocious puncher. Early on, dangerous. But you take him, if you can get through 5-6 rounds, the fight becomes yours because he sort of starts to fade. The power dips a little bit. He's not as dangerous with the right hand.
Shout out Tony Bellew.
Shout out to Tony Bellew, big fight. We'll do a podcast on that. But it's a good fight. It's a good fight.
Definitely.
Sort of, what do you think of the Wilder fight?
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I thought, he showed plenty of heart, a lot of courage. Ortiz.
Do you want your champions to be showing courage and heart against contenders, though? Is that what you need?
Mate, that 7th round.
Ortiz is not just any contender, though. That's the only thing. I get what you're saying, but I think what it was a good. People want to see their champ be powerful, but they also love to see a good gut check. If you make yourself, I think this is the dynamic of how people support their athletes. People want you to be great, but they also want you to be human. So then, if you're like a Ricky Hatton, Hatton was loved because although, yes, against contenders he finished them, but then also in the top title fights, he showed that gut to pull through in bad adversity situations. And I think people do like that in their champions. Just a bit, not too much. Obviously, if every single fight that you're in is a slugfest, that's when people might lose faith in you. But people do love to see that. It's the whole Batman vs Superman. When
Yeah.
you see Superman, people want to see Batman win because they want to see the perfect guy fall. For some reason, that's just the way the world works. So I think with Wilder, that was good to show that he's not perfect and he's more relatable.
Without overlooking Joshua Parker as a fight, because that is a brilliant fight in itself.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting to talk about. But I just think, if you think of comparable opponents, you've got Molina, 9 rounds of Wilder, even fight, hurt Wilder in the fight.
Yeah.
Joshua didn't even get a look in. He just kind of got bulldozed. He got
Did
smoked.
Molina even land a punch that fight?
And so you got levels there. You're sort of looking at like when you look at comparability, it's and then you throw into the fact size. 2.5 stone is a big amount of size to
How much
overcome.
did he come
especially
in
at heavyweight.
for the Ortiz
heavyweight.
fight? Came in at 15 stone, was it?
15-2.
No, he came in his light, one of the lightest.
15-2 he came in at.
Really?
15-2 for the Ortiz fight. 15-9 for his fight before that against Devon. You got Fury out here weighing like 18 stone, 18 and a half stone.
And he's cutting down.
Yeah, but when he comes into the ring, he walks to the ring at 18 and a half stone. You got Joshua walking to the ring at 18-2, 17-10, somewhere there. You got this guy walking at 15-2. He won his Olympic medal at heavyweight, not super heavyweight, which is cruiserweight in the Olympics. Yeah. He's not a heavyweight. He's not. I personally don't think he's big enough.
I think he's a glorified cruiserweight then.
I think he could make cruiserweight. He made 15-2. You're a cruiserweight, you know.
I think that's why out of all heavyweights, Bellew was up for fighting Deontay Wilder because he sees him as you're not exactly the biggest heavyweight. So why not challenge him? I honestly think that depending on how these next few fights go for Wilder, Bellew might. Well, I think people are looking at this next fight with haters. If Bellew wins, that's it. That's retirement. He's set for life. But I'd say if that Wilder fight happens to be able to appear for Bellew, it could be there. But we digress. But the main thing is, I do believe that I understand Steve's point that the public want to see a dominating champion. I just also feel at the same time it's good for people to see a gut check because they both go into that fight knowing that both guys know how to go through adversity, but both guys can also knock your block off. And I think that's what makes it more exciting, is that it's like the war of attrition, who's got more of the will to win when it gets tough, if you can get out from that knockout punch. And to be fair, on the US side, they haven't had a heavyweight with this big of a name in a long time. And it's not to say he's the biggest of names at the moment, but I think they just want anybody who's got some form of recognition to finally rep the flag for the US at heavyweight and make some noise. And Wilder's that guy, so obviously that's why they're pushing. But let's not forget, Parker against Joshua is very crucial in this whole sum.
I think the people this is just a build-up fight. This is some sort of promotional
not
fight.
even.
But this is how a lot of people see
a brilliant
this fight. This fight is a legitimate heavyweight fight. This guy has beat all those contenders that
Exactly.
Klitschko aside, so take Klitschko out. Yeah, their records are comparable. They've done similar things. They both had close fights with Takam, good sort of back and forth fights with Takam. Hughie Fury is a negative guy, awkward guy to fight. Andy Ruiz is a really, really good fighter. Go check that fight out on YouTube. Andy Ruiz is a very, very, very good fighter.
You heard that, people?
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah. And Parker's come through all of those contenders. He deserves to be champion. He's beat all those sort of those guys in and around the top 10 of the heavyweight who's who of those top 10 contenders. And Joshua needs to be switched on in this fight. He can't be looking elsewhere.
Exactly.
Although Joshua does a lot of publicity and promotional stuff outside of the ring, he's sort of he's split every way. Is Parker just focused fully on Joshua, fighting Joshua, whereas Joshua is sort of doing Lucozade advert here. I see him sort of doing this advert there.
Man, you got young entrepreneurs, man. These boxers got to get their money, and we've all seen in the past how boxers have been shysted out of their money. So
and we've all seen Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean?
I think the difference.
WrestleMania.
No. Oh, listen.
See Josh out there fighting Undertaker.
Listen, the difference between Rousey is that even her mum said it was that her coach wasn't the greatest. You haven't trained no one else to do well, and she hadn't been tested at that point. And the first adversity she came into, unfortunately, she wasn't able to successfully jump it. And then in the next fight, she showed that she couldn't jump it again for her own ignorance. Joshua doesn't seem to be the guy that won't be able to jump over the hurdles of ignorance.
No, for real, I don't compare Joshua to Rousey at all. I think Joshua is a far more. He's a fighter and he's an actual fighter.
Yeah.
But will you like concede that the distractions of sort of media, advertising, sponsorship can sort of, when you get to those top levels, you're having those even money fights. Yeah. It's that slight distraction that the other fighter might need when he's not as famous as you, and he can focus 100%. If it's a 50-50 fight and you got that in your favour, that's an advantage. You know what I mean?
We talked about so Joshua was to prevail. Yeah. Joshua Wilder. What if Parker was to get the win? How would you think Wilder would do against someone like Joseph Parker?
Again, too small.
Listen. We all know Eddie Hearn's not going to have that. There will be a rematch. There will be a rematch at Wembley Stadium because now it's going to be the British against the Aussies and they're going to play. I'm surprised they haven't played up too much now.
It's from New Zealand. Well, New Zealand.
The Oceania crowd versus Europe/the UK. Apologies, Parker. That came off ignorant on my part. But I believe that I would have thought that they would have done more of a nation first nation thing just to play up a bit. Maybe because Australia's not seen as New Zealand, they don't feel like it's not as much. There's not that history there of the British versus New Zealand in sports as there is the British versus Australia.
Yeah,
so
like,
maybe
who's
they
more
don't push
that?
it.
That Dave Higgins, he tried to play that up. He did. You see he tried to drop. He's like, the British, they're crap. The English are crap at football, crap at cricket. And
he ain't wrong there, is he?
And he went, they're always. What did he say? He went, they're always nearly men in sports. He went, they're nearly men in football, nearly men in cricket. And he goes, on that date, we're going to find out that they're nearly men in boxing too.
Hello.
And it's like, all right, mate. Easy.
The only thing he said there was nearly men in football. That's giving. Well, that's giving England football.
You're a big cricket fan, right? Killing cricket. No.
Listen, man. I don't know. Like I said, it will be instant rematch. There's no way that Eddie Hearn will then. Because think about it. If Joshua was to ever lose, then it'll go from Cardiff Stadium to London Wembley. And then they're going to promote it as Joshua's big redemption fight.
He's never lost at Wembley.
Yeah.
This is his home.
I can see it now, mate. They're going to say all of that. Well, yeah, Joshua was on British soil, but it was Wales. It wasn't the UK. He lives around the corner from Wembley. He's going to feel more at home, even though, the distance isn't the greatest. Yeah, not the furthest, but
they'll sell those distractions we just talked about. He was distracted before, but he's focused now. They'll show sort of him bloody hitting cow carcasses in a frozen room. He's back to the origins.
But that's what I'm saying. People love that. People love a comeback story, and I think it will make his brand go greater. But obviously,
the Joshua brand is destructive champion, like unbeaten, infallible. I think that loss would be very, very damaging to him.
That's his selling point right there.
He's
20 wins,
he's got
20
unblemished, and he just looked great doing it.
But the funny thing is like after Wilder fight, okay, let's say Joshua goes through Parker, then he gets to Wilder, he goes through Wilder. Obviously, on the horizon is Tyson Fury.
Yeah, my man.
Would that mean? Do you think if Joshua was to win that fight, do you think that'll be his retirement fight?
Who's retirement fight?
Andy Joshua. If he beat,
he might not plan for it to be, but it will be.
Man,
you got an uncrowned king out there, man. That's the view where you at, like. You know what I mean?
The only reason I say that, not to digress too much, the only reason why I say that is, if he was to beat Parker, then Wilder, and then potentially Fury, you've clocked the heavyweight game.
No, you run out of opponents then for sure, but that is a big, big if.
Obviously, I don't want to.
For you lot, what do you think? What fight would you want to see more, Wilder or Joshua against Wilder or Fury?
Fury all day.
Wilder first.
But in terms of what, like, if you had to pick one, sort of like, what would you if it wasn't a first and second type thing, but it was an either or?
Fury did unthinkable.
Mate, he went to Germany. I would need to see that Fury Joshua fight. The build-up would be beautiful.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to see the Fury fight, but just only because of the UK versus US, I would love to see the hype going into Joshua Wilder. And then if Joshua was to beat him, that's why I say it depends on the order. Because I can't imagine.
I agree with you because I personally think Joshua stops Wilder, and then that builds up the the Joshua. Adds credence to it. It makes people believe that Joshua could beat Fury more. It would make me believe that Joshua could beat Fury more.
Yeah.
But so like if they went straight into the Fury fight, I would be thinking Fury's probably got that.
Saying that, I think Fury definitely needs a tune-up fight.
Yeah, he needs to come back and build himself back up. And I'd like to see it like sort of summer next year.
One or two fights though.
I think 18 months. I think whatever he needs, just like sort of, you know. He was saying maybe Cannon Briggs the end of this year. Like,
is Cannon Briggs even eligible to fight after the whole?
Yeah, he's fine.
Is he eligible now?
Yeah, that ban will be done.
All right, lads. So roll on March the 31st. Final predictions. Parker, Joshua, give it to me. Steve.
Tentatively, I've got a Joshua stoppage, but it would not surprise me if Parker came on strong down the stretch and took him out.
Ray.
Listen, a Joshua finish, a valiant effort from Parker, but a Joshua finish, and then a dominant alpha male call out from Anthony Joshua.
You know what? I'm going to call it now. Joshua, 10th round, TKO. I think Parker will get stopped.
Moving around, trying to upstage us out here.
I'm going for it. 10th round.
I'll put money on that.
But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. And do check out further episodes in the future. Take care.
We're out.
Peace.